You wake up in the middle of the night, your partner is beside you. The room is silent, the lights are off. Everyone else is somewhere else, behind other walls, inside other rooms. And when you want a private moment with your partner, nobody can see you. Nobody can hear you. It feels completely normal. But for nearly 300,000 years, this moment didn't exist. There were no bedrooms, no apartments, no hotel rooms, no locks, no private spaces. Just you, your family, your children, your grandparents, and maybe 20 or 30 other people sleeping only a few feet away. Which creates a very awkward question. How did ancient humans have privacy? More specifically, how did couple have privacy? How did they have intimate moments when everyone lived together? Were people simply watching? Did nobody care? Or did ancient humans know something about privacy that we've forgotten? The short answer is that they didn't have privacy the way we do. The long answer is much more interesting, because the people who lived without privacy weren't the ones struggling. In many ways, we're the ones struggling. To understand why, we need to step into a world that no longer exists. A world where being alone wasn't normal. It was dangerous. Picture a small camp 30,000 years ago. The sun has disappeared. A fire burns in the center. Children are drifting to sleep. An elder is finishing a story. Someone is repairing a spear. A baby begins crying. The entire group is gathered together. Maybe 30 people. Maybe 40. Not strangers. Not neighbors. Your entire world. When modern people imagine this scene, they often assume ancient humans had no privacy at all. But that's not exactly true. What they lacked was physical privacy. What they developed instead was something much more subtle and much more human. But before we get there, we need to understand how unusual our modern lives really are. Tonight, most people watching this video will sleep in a separate room. Many children have their own bedrooms. Some couples sleep in entirely different rooms. That feels normal. Yet for most of human history, it would have sounded absurd. Humans slept together for warmth. Humans slept together for protection. Humans slept together because predators didn't care about personal space. A sleeping group was safer than a sleeping individual. If you wandered away from everyone else at night, you weren't gaining privacy. You were increasing your chances of becoming dinner. For ancient humans, safety came first. Privacy came second. Sometimes a very distant second. Even thousands of years later, families often shared a single room. Parents, children, grandparents, everyone together. The private bedroom is not an ancient human tradition. It's a modern luxury, which brings us back to the mystery. What happened when a husband wanted time with his wife? Or when two young people became interested in each other? The answer begins with something modern humans rarely experience: real darkness. Today, cities glow all night. Streetlights, phones, televisions. Ancient nights were different. Beyond the firelight was darkness, not dimness. Darkness. Take a few steps away from camp and faces disappeared. Walk a little farther and people vanished completely. For many ancient humans, the night itself became a kind of wall. No bricks, no doors, no locks, just darkness. And surprisingly, that was often enough. But darkness wasn't the only solution. Humans developed another strategy, one you still use today without realizing it. Imagine you're at a friend's wedding. A couple slips away from the dance floor. You notice. Everyone notices. But nobody follows them. Nobody asks where they're going. Nobody makes a big deal about it. The party simply continues. Everyone understands what's happening, and everyone politely ignores what is obvious. The first privacy system in human history wasn't a wall. It was mutual understanding, a shared agreement to look away. And that may sound strange, but think about how often you already do it. Privacy isn't always about being unseen. Sometimes it's about others choosing not to see. This social understanding extended far beyond romance. Even basic bodily functions follow the same pattern. People moved away from camp, not because nobody knew what they were doing. Everyone knew. The point wasn't secrecy. The point was respect. In a strange way, it wasn't very different from a modern public restroom. Everyone understands why you're there. Everyone simply agrees not to make it a social event. Ancient privacy often worked exactly like that, not through isolation, through cooperation. And this reveals something modern people rarely consider. The ancient world wasn't built around independence. It was built around belonging. Among some traditional societies studied in recent times, the idea of complete solitude felt uncomfortable, even frightening, because being alone meant being separated from protection, separated from the group, separated from safety. To us, privacy feels peaceful. To many ancient humans, too much privacy would have felt vulnerable. That's because their brains were adapted to a completely different environment, an environment where survival depended on staying connected. And maybe that's where this story becomes personal. Because despite having more privacy than any humans in history, many people today feel profoundly alone. We have private bedrooms, private houses, private offices, private cars, private screens. Yet loneliness has become one of the defining experiences of modern life. Think about that for a moment. Ancient humans had almost no physical privacy, yet they were rarely alone. Modern humans have unprecedented privacy, yet millions feel disconnected. Somewhere along the way, we gained walls, but we may have lost something else. The tribe. The constant presence of people who knew us. The feeling of belonging to something larger than ourselves. And maybe that's why the answer to our original question is so surprising. How did ancient husbands and wives have privacy? The answer is that they created it through darkness, through distance, through social understanding, through trust. But they also needed less of it than we do, because they lived among people who weren't strangers, people who already knew them, people who accepted them, people who shared their lives every single day. For nearly 300,000 years, humans lived without bedrooms, without walls, without doors, without locks, and yet they still found love, still found intimacy, still found connection, not because they had private spaces, but because they had something many modern people spend their entire lives searching for, a place where they belonged. Maybe the greatest luxury isn't having a room where nobody can see you. Maybe it's having people who truly see you and stay anyway.